Welcome to Married to Portuguese. On each episode, my English-Irish husband, Bob, and I discuss and laugh about our life and adventures in the Portuguese culture. Hello.
Hello. We still haven't gotten over this.
No, still haven't. We'll figure it out.
We need a much more serious...
Yes, hello, welcome.
Well,
no, not that serious.
Not serious
not
that way.
serious.
I mean,
no, we're not serious people.
Maybe that's not the word I want.
No, more, I guess...
Planned? Organized?
Yeah, I guess more planned and organized. We just say, okay, you feel like doing a podcast? Okay, let's go.
Hello, and welcome to Married to Portuguese. Yes. Well, we have that already.
We already have that as the intro,
right.
Bob.
Anyway.
All right, we're here.
We watched a really interesting documentary last night on port wine. We watched it on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah. That was really good. You were like, honey, what do you want to watch tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you want to watch? And I'm like, how about a documentary? And you started looking, because we both like documentaries. So, and you're like, I just saw something for port wines. I'm like, hello, yes, let's watch it. It was really good.
Yes. I just blanked on the name. Was it about port? It was a very simple name.
We'll put a link to it.
We'll put the link.
Yeah, we'll put the link on it
in the description. But it was really interesting. It was about 6 years old, so filmed 2016 or so.
Yeah.
And 90 minutes, so easily consumable. And it talked about Oporto. It talked about the Douro region. It talked about some of the businesses that
the growers, the
companies, the growers, the labels, the families that run the labels, the future of it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Really interesting. Do you like port? Let's start with that.
I do love pork. Port wine for me, and of course it's different now. I grew up with my mom and my dad always having port wine at home as well as Madeira, but we'll talk about Madeira after. But port wine was always the Tawny port that they would have. So a little for me for Tawny port was enough.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it was too oaky. It had that flavors in there that was a little too oaky for me. So a little bit goes a long way for me. But that's your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Which we found out, Oh, and of course my favorite right now. I do like the white port. White port in the summertime is wonderful.
So what is your favorite?
Oh,
Don't go into your own tangent.
Ruby.
You like Ruby. I like Ruby. Tawny. Tawny's younger.
No, Ruby.
Ruby's older.
No.
Tawny's older. Ruby is younger.
Yes, because Ruby is like, what is it? 3 to 5 years.
On average.
On average. And Tawny, at least 10.
At least 10. But
yeah.
Very generically. Because sometimes, like Tawny's aged in an oak vat. Ruby can be stainless steel.
Yeah.
But sometimes they will mix them depending on label and year and all of that. So we're talking very generically.
But for me that has this I can tell the difference between one and the other. And it's very easy. Because for me, I think Ruby port is smoother. It doesn't have those strong flavors of oak in there I like it
when it sings on the palate.
Wow.
I heard them say that last night on the documentary, and I've been waiting to work that into a conversation.
You've been thinking, where can I use that in
I don't even know what it means. Sings on the palate.
But it was really neat to see the history of it and how, it was the wine growers in Portugal, and the people from England coming over, and they would bring back to Europe the wine, the figs, the olives, whatever it was. And for that voyage, they
fortified the wine because in order to get the wine back to England from Portugal.
Yeah.
Before they added brandy, when it was just straight wine, the wine was going bad in the casks.
Right.
So they needed to fortify it so that it wouldn't go bad.
Right.
Now, I don't know the trade because the wine, the boats may not have been going straight back to the UK. They might have been going to somewhere else.
To pick up or whatever.
Probably multiple.
Yeah, and then, of course, they talked about, the relationship between Portugal and England, which is the oldest and longest running, still to this day, relationship between two countries. And how all of these English families that have been, that are born in Portugal, that, run their business there as well as England, but the ones that were born in Portugal see themselves as Portuguese, which was really beautiful to hear them, speak about the traditions that they have and all of that. And there are specifically two English families that are there that have pretty much bought up all the other labels, with the exception of a few that are still.
Well, they were the two biggest, and
the
that
two
was
largest, yeah.
Taylor label and
Graham.
And
I thought.
Graham.
I think.
We weren't taking notes.
Yeah, we
didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
Yeah, we didn't know we were going to do this today, but it was really interesting. So if you love port wines, it's really a great documentary. It's really great for us to know about our history in wines. It's really important.
Yeah, and to learn about the Douro region, because they spent a lot of time talking about
Gorgeous.
that. Didn't realize it's like the most expensive place in the world to grow grapes.
Right.
Because you're growing on a mountainside.
You're going uphill.
So it's wildly steep.
Yeah.
You've got to cut the plateaus and the steps into it, and they use stone walls to hold back the earth. And the one bottling company, grower, label,
Yeah.
they have 100 miles of this stone wall. And at any given time, 30 miles of it is in need of repair.
Right.
Because the earth is always pushing against the walls. And it's got to be rebuilt by hand. So if
By
you're a
hand.
stonemason in that area, you're never going to be out of work.
Right.
And it's so remote. So, the Douro region starts from east of Porto and then runs all the way
Up to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how hard the conditions are. They talk about harvest time in ways that we hadn't heard before, and the problems if it rains. And we didn't realize that when it rains, the vines will soak up the extra water, which will go into the fruit. It'll expand the size of the fruit till the fruit will split because it's taken too much. And then once it's split, mold will set in.
And that's it.
And that's...
You can't use it.
So they're worried about temperature. They're worried about rain, all of that stuff. And, they still rely on local help from the villages for their harvest.
Yeah.
And this was the best job that these folks could get.
Right.
Through the course of the year.
Right. It was in the way that they, how they press it, and some are using, hand tools. Others are back to the very traditional, all in single line with arms around each other, and someone is calling off their legs to go up and down and they do that for 2 hours every day.
2 to 3 hours, yeah.
2 to 3 hours every day.
After harvest.
After being out in the fields and harvesting, they go back and they do that. It's very labor intensive. So when you're looking at an expensive bottle of port wine, now you understand, what it goes into creating these delicious port wines, these delicious Portuguese port wines. And it's something I think that we all as Portuguese need to be so proud of, all these beautiful wines that we're able to create out of that region. I mean, it really is the best wines. I feel that it's the best wines. Of course, because, I'm Portuguese and I'm like, oh yeah, that's best wines in the world. Because little by little, the numbers are increasing in the quality. So whereas before you would say, oh, it's just France. France is going to make your best wines. Well, now you've got Portuguese wines that are competing up against France. And it's coming back that, people, the certain numbers or the way they evaluate wines, Portuguese wines have come up.
Yeah, well, I don't think the problem's the quality of the wines. It's the quantity. They're smaller patches. They can't grow as much. It's just like what we learned when we were on Pico.
Yeah.
You can only upscale so much.
Because you don't have that much room.
you can't. So you can only get so popular. It doesn't matter if you're already selling out everything that you have.
True.
And this is a dessert wine, right? Port's a
Yeah,
dessert wine.
it's a dessert wine.
You wouldn't have it with your meal.
Right. No. It's at the end. It's at the very end. You would have a port. You would have a little bit of port. And I thought it was funny because they were talking and they said, usually port wine was considered a man's drink, And I heard that and I'm thinking, okay. My dad would have it, with some, again, this isn't something we'd have all the time, but when he would have it, it would be special occasions we would have, and we would toast with port wine. But, all of us would have some of it. It's not like, so when I heard that, I'm like, maybe in your home, but in my home, we all partook in that. So to me, port wine is...
No, but historically, they would toast.
Yes.
They would toast with it.
Yes.
The politicians and the businessmen.
Yes.
That would be it. But they did highlight one of our favorite cocktails, which is the white port and tonic.
And tonic. Oh my goodness. That is really good. That's a fantastic summer drink.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be gin and tonic. Port and tonic.
White port and tonic. Trust us on that one. It is.
Perfect. I wouldn't even wait till the summer. I would get yourself to the store today.
We're going out today.
All right. So, fortified wines.
Yes.
All right. So, the port wine hits about 20% alcohol level with fortification.
Yep.
All right. So, to tie this back when we were talking about Czar wines.
In Pico,
where he's doing the unbelievable, he's getting 20% alcohol naturally. No fortification.
No fortification at all.
Right? Because he's essentially harvesting raisins, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But then Madeira
wine is fortified.
is also fortified.
Yeah. But there is a difference between the two on how they fortify.
Well, it's the aging process. It's the aging process.
Right.
I believe, not an expert.
Right.
I've met experts, but I am not one.
Right.
They use heat. They use heat in the aging process.
Whereas port wine does not.
Which brings out some different flavors and...
Yeah.
Got to affect the sugar.
Yeah. No, as you can tell, we definitely love our wines. We do. I think it's...
When we can remember them the next day.
Yeah. Oh, not that much. We don't drink that much wine. Right. 2 for me is enough.
I wish they had a breakfast port.
That
sounds bad, right?
That sounds so bad. That sounds like you have a problem, Bob. Which I know you don't. You don't. He's just being facetious here. But no, that was highly recommended. We figured we would put this on the podcast because we want to make sure for those of you out there, because I know all of you love your Portuguese wines and your port wines, or if you've never tried port wine, start off with a white port and then go to a ruby before you go to a tawny, because that is the...
But it's daunting. If you go liquor store, and I'll choose one that's around here.
Yeah.
They will specialize in Portuguese wines because of our community. There's a lot to choose from, right? You're starting from 10 or 12 years and going all the way up, and the price ranges are all over. So it's daunting.
Yeah.
So I would say, first off, start with something that's younger, that's 10 or 12 years. It's not that expensive to get into.
Right.
And, start tasting it and give it a try.
Right.
It's not so scary. So buy the least expensive ruby and the least expensive tawny.
And work your way up.
Finish both bottles.
Not in one sitting.
Or that.
Who are we to judge?
Or that. Yeah, I'm not judging.
We're not judging.
Yeah, have a tasting party. And
yes. I think that's a great idea.
We should do that this afternoon.
Oh, we're having a tasting party?
Sure.
Who are we going to invite?
I'll invite you.
I'll invite you. Okay, that's it. We do have some port.
And we have Madeira. We have
both. Yeah, we do.
We're not fussy.
No, we're not.
Not fussy.
They're both delicious.
We should go crack open a bottle now.
I think we should.
Awesome.
All right, let's do that. All right, guys.
We'll report back next week.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'd love to hear your ideas for topics. Ciao.